Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Eat the Hatchet. I'm your host, Steve. Today, we're going to be doing a game recap for the Blackhawks versus Penguins game, as well as covering the game that took place on last Friday when the Blackhawks played against the Capitals. Also, cover a little bit about Alex Ovechkin making history today. That's what you guys got to look forward to. So, sit tight. Well, hope everybody is having a good weekend or maybe a good Monday. It's probably when you'll be listening to this, recording this after the game on Sunday, and probably releasing it the same day as well. For the written game recap, you can find that on ontapsportsnet.com, where you can find most of the stuff that I write. That'll be out probably sometime tomorrow, maybe in the afternoon. But yeah, welcome to the show. I think we got some big news to cover. Today, Alex Ovechkin broke the all-time goal record that obviously was held by Wayne Gretzky. He scored goal number 895. Incredible feat that he accomplished. That's something that I think if you witness that, you'll never forget that. That'll be one of those things where like you'll look back on and kind of remember where you were when that happened. For me, I was on my stairs watching it on my laptop, rushing to get out the door. So I'm glad I was able to catch it. But yeah, and speaking of the Capitals, the Blackhawks, they did play the Capitals on Friday. That's when OV scored 2 goals to tie it, and that was it was a fun game. The Blackhawks played a lot better than what the score looked like. It was a 5-3 loss, but one of those goals was an empty net, so 4-3. Capitals are obviously, even though they're going through like kind of I don't want to say slump. I think they're a little distracted, is what the hockey guy said over on YouTube. Distracted with the goal chase, so their play hasn't been as good as it was recently, and yeah, I mean, still a good team, but you know, that was a long day for me. So originally I did try to do a game preview, and that didn't end up happening. I was dog tired. I think I started recording it. I was like, I'm just not gonna. I'm just calling it quits today. So didn't happen. And throughout the game, I wasn't really focused 100% just because of how exhausted I was. So, you know, yeah, if I were to have recorded a game recap, it would have been complete ass. Not that this show isn't, so like, probably happy that you don't have to listen to that. Instead, you get to listen to this one today. So yeah, I guess we should get right into it, right? So the Pittsburgh Penguins, they've been having a rough season, rough couple of seasons. As of late, they've been having a good stretch of hockey. Not amazing, but the Pittsburgh Penguins weren't as bad as they have been. Prior to coming into this game, Sidney Crosby scored a hat trick against the Dallas Stars. I want to say that was yesterday because the Penguins were playing on back-to-back games. So Crosby scored the hat trick and kind of just did Sid stuff. And today it looked like just two bad teams playing hockey against each other. It was kind of I don't want to say it was boring. The first period was a little slow. There were some times where the Blackhawks looked like they had some solid possession, where Connor Bedard's line was doing pretty good in the offensive zone, but they also did get stuck in their zone. That happened a few times throughout this game, and that's not anything new, nothing to get caught up on. Inexperienced defensive core, it's going to happen, right? So that did happen a few times throughout the game, but nothing notable throughout the first period. There were no penalties called. There was like a stretch where there was no whistles called at all, so it went by really fast. So kind of weird saying that it's a slow game, but it also went fast at the same time. Blackhawks owned 43% of shot attempts, which is Corsi. So when you hear me use that again, that's what it means. And they own 34% of expected goals. So there were a couple of chances where the Blackhawks looked good, but yeah, the numbers kind of paint a different story, right? So like, it wasn't their best period by any stretch, but you know, I guess I should say that the Blackhawks won this one, right? Probably should start with the score, but diving right into this thing. So 3-1 for the Blackhawks. If you didn't know, sorry, but the second period is when things kind of picked up for the Hawks. So they owned 45% of shot attempts, which isn't like a big well, it's, I don't want to say it's a big deficiency, but you know what I'm saying. So the Penguins, they had the puck more than the Hawks did, right? Now with the shot attempts or the scoring chances that the Hawks did have, they had better scoring chances because the Blackhawks own 61% of the expected goal share. So that kind of just shows that the Hawks were, kind of feeling themselves in the offensive zone, taking apart of the Pittsburgh Penguins' bad defense. And I think a big part of it too was their defense was, and like all season and last year, is they're really slow on the rush, right? So that's kind of where they expose themselves, is on like 2-on-1 rushes against. And the Blackhawks, especially Nazar, was able to take advantage of that. So, I did notice that Rinzel, he had a great chance. And, just quickly, I thought Rinzel had an excellent game. I'll look up his stats in a second. But he created a great chance, entered the zone with the puck, which we've been seeing a lot of. I'd love to hear what his zone entry numbers are. And he passed the puck to Philip Kurashev, who was in the slot. It was beautiful. Even if it was going to be a shot on goal, I would have not been upset because it was gorgeous. And then Kurashev just could not handle the pass. So that kind of just speaks on Philip Kurashev, right? I would be extremely, extremely surprised if the Blackhawks were to sign him in the offseason, because his contract is up, and it's kind of been like the talking point of the year, where he's not produced as much as he did last year, where, what was it? It was like 50 points or something? I can't remember, but Kurashev, obviously, he just hasn't been up to what he has, what his expectations were, essentially. So that kind of finalized it for me, where it's it's kind of like he was there in the right place, right time, but just couldn't even generate a chance, which, kind of sucks, right? So, yeah. And then real quick, I just got Rinzel's numbers. So his Corsi is 47, and he's got a 47 expected goal share. So, not great, but, this team is what it is. But, yeah. So the Hawks would go on the penalty kill. The Penguins would get the first penalty or power play of the game. There was some soft calls from the refs, and it was kind of ridiculous, especially on the penalty that was called on Moore later on. And then you could argue that Bertuzzi's penalty was maybe a little soft, but yeah, I want to rewatch that one before I definitively say that. But Hawks go on the PK, and Nick Foligno, he gets a nice chance, couldn't finish it. Spencer Knight makes a massive save to keep the Blackhawks in it. Knight had another fantastic game. He stopped 8 of 9 high danger chances. He finished with a .966 save percentage, which is awesome. And then he faced 29 shots and then made 28 saves. So Knight's awesome, right? And this is kind of what we want to see. Even though it's a bad team, it's still Sidney Crosby, Chris Letang's still out on the ice. This is a team that, they're gonna make a bad goalie kind of expose himself. But for Spencer Knight, his like gets a win out of this and kind of gets to build his confidence from it. But yeah, so all right, sorry about that. I had to do a quick little editing. But yeah, first time this happened on the show. It's episode 6. It's I think I got like 1.5 listeners, so congrats. Get to hear my first mistake. But yeah. So to wrap up that penalty kill, Nazar gets his first shorthanded goal, and it's awesome, right? You just love to see it from this kid. He's fantastic on the penalty kill. He's vicious, and it's about time that he starts getting these goals go his way. He scored in the last game against the Capitals, and he's been having a ton of chances. And his problem was that he wasn't finishing. And like I said before, you don't really have to like be concerned, right? Because one, if you're concerned, that's kind of ridiculous. He's still super young. It's his first season in the NHL, not really counting the last few games he played last year, but he's just got to figure it out, right? Like, I don't think anybody's really freaking out or anything. In fact, I think he's kind of playing above people's expectations. And Scott Powers of The Athletic, I didn't read it, but it looks like he made an article about how Corey Pronman was mistaken about Frank Nazar, and I can't wait to read it because that I was kind of upset to hear Pronman really not give Nazar the credit that's due. And I don't really pay too much attention to like journalists that like make these like bold statements. Like I'll just read whatever they say and then make my own assumption, or not assumption. I can't think of the word right now, but like conclusion. That's what I'm going for. Conclusion. So like Corey Pronman, like the past few articles, he's like, it almost seemed like intentionally just leaving out Nazar to piss off the Chicago fan base. But like, the kid's amazing, and he's playing on a second line center role on a bad team, still getting these chances, and like the kid cares about the game, right? So like, I don't know, and like, again, he's still young, and like, I'm confident that he's going to be a star one day, but I'm just throwing this out there, like, is he going to be a potential candidate for the next Blackhawks captain? I don't know. Like, I've seen people say stuff like Alex Vlasic, which, I'm sure, like, he's a good leader, but, like, Nazar, like, he really cares about winning, and you see that on the ice. So, I don't know, just food for thought, and, like, we could go more into detail into the captaincy and all of that stuff, but that's a whole nother topic, another day that's still down the road. I'm sure that pissed some people off. But yeah, so Moore, he got penalized at the end of the second period. That was the other soft call I was talking about. So the Blackhawks, they start the third period on the PK. Nazar, once again, does an excellent job. And then he ends up drawing a penalty to put the Blackhawks on the power play. So he actually drew the penalty with 4 seconds left in the PK. Hawks go on the penalty or power play, and then nothing too noteworthy from what I saw. There were a couple chances, I think, but it wasn't nothing that really stood out in my mind. Could maybe even pull it up like to see how they looked. Yeah, let's see. So in the third period, they had 5 shot attempts, 4 shots on goal, and then 3 scoring chances. So not bad. I'm trying to remember, like, I didn't catch anything substantial from, like, zone entries. I did notice that Korchinski was out there, but, yeah. After that, Mikheyev scores to put the Hawks up 2-1, and Bedard gets his 60th point of the season with an assist on Mikheyev's goal. So that's 40 assists and 20 goals for Connor Bedard. And you love to see it, right? I think he's having an excellent season considering his age and his the team that he's on. And again, I think there's a ridiculous amount of expectations that are put on Connor Bedard. A lot of people were like fairly easy to throw the generational title around when he was drafted, and like I I don't know if I can say he's going to be living up to that hype, right? But I think he is going to be an extremely elite player. He's already elite, right? Everything just has to click together. And I think just mentally this season has been really difficult. Last season, we already saw him, he had to deal with being an 18-year-old kid with all of the media and all of that stuff. And then this year, like, yeah, you would have loved to see what he could do with that pressure gone, but like there's the other added pressure where his season didn't get started off to the way he maybe wanted to, right? I think a lot of that has to be on the coaches. I don't like the coaching decisions and how they employ Bedard, but at the same time, like you got to look at this roster and you know, there's nobody to really play with him other than Teuvo Teravainen, but none of the coaches want to play Teuvo with Bedard. So, you know, would that like unlock something? No, it wouldn't. I don't think so. But still, just something that I don't know, kind of thinking about. But great job to Bedard, 60 points. He's like, don't sleep on this kid to all the haters, and yeah. And then on that same goal, Sam Rinzel, he gets his first NHL point with an assist. So great to see. And then Tyler Bertuzzi, he gets penalized. Kind of a weak call, kind of not, but the Pens score right away after some nice passing, 2-1. And then the Blackhawks take it out with a great chance for Bedard near the end of the game. And then the Penguins pull their goalie, 3-1. Mikheyev gets the empty net, and Mikheyev, he scored his second of the game, and as of right now, he's got 20 goals, 14 assists, and he has a 34-point career high. So Mikheyev has been a nice surprise on this team. I've been liking what he's doing. He's fast, and he's scoring. I think he's kind of like maybe, I don't think he's as fast as Andreas Athanasiou, but like he's kind of what you would have hoped to get from AA this season, right? But I think Ilya Mikheyev was a good grab. I would love to see what he does next year, and I think he could be a good trade option next year, right? I don't think he's gonna be somebody you want to keep on this team long term, but I'm trying to look up to see what his age is. But this computer's being funny, so yeah, Mikheyev, great job. And I see the stars of the game. So he got the first star of the game, and Spencer Knight got the second star of the game, and Frank Nazar gets the third star of the game. So good stuff from those guys. Good game all around, right? It was fun. I don't think it was like a great game by any stretch of the imagination. There were some parts of it where the Blackhawks looked really on it. They looked locked in, and then there were some other parts where like mostly when they would get hemmed into their DZ. So, yeah. And I'm just looking at the stats, like, it's fairly even across the board with in terms of like, well, except for hitting. So the Penguins out-hit the Blackhawks 27-19, and then they had 22 giveaways for the Penguins, 21 for the Blackhawks, 9 takeaways for the Penguins, and 7 for the Hawks. So, yeah. And real quick, there's a quote that I wanted to pull from Anders Sorensen. So I'm trying to pull it up right now. But Anders Sorensen, before the game, gave a very interesting quote to Ben Pope. Pen Pope. That would be funny. But so this is a whole tweet from Ben Pope of the Chicago Sun-Times. But Anders Sorensen admitted yesterday he's losing sleep about the Blackhawks' lack of wins lately. He talked today about how much more focus there is on wins and losses compared to player development in the NHL versus the AHL. Here's his quote. Obviously, results are not going the way we want them, but we get asked about it constantly. End quote. Sorensen, what the hell kind of answer is that? And, like, this is the kind of stuff that's getting me... I don't even know why I'm getting frustrated, though, because, like, you have to think that the Blackhawks are not seriously considering him for head coach anymore, right? I know, like, a few weeks ago and with Four Feathers and what I write, I kind of, I don't want to say freak out, but I get a little nervous that Sorensen could be seriously in consideration for the head coach. And, like, I'm kind of been moving away from that with just, like, these quotes like this where they're non-answers, or, like, his decision-making on the ice, or his lack of fire and passion whenever there's a bad call or a non-call on the ice, right? I think we saw a good example of that on Friday's game against the Capitals. The Capitals head coach, he looked very upset, visibly upset when there was a bad penalty that was called to them. I don't even want to say bad penalty because it helped us out, but you never see anything like that from Sorensen. So, like, I'm not saying that that's, like, end-all, be-all for him to be a head coach, but, you know, kind of like what I said on Four Feathers, it's more of, like, the lack of a personality that's been kind of, I don't know, throwing me off my game for him. But, yeah. Not a big fan of that quote, but that's pretty much all I got, I think. Let me just see what we got here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The Blackhawks, they got another game, I want to say on Tuesday. Loading up the schedule right now, but that is correct. They play the Penguins again. This time they're going to be going to Pittsburgh, playing the Penguins at 6 p.m. Central. That'll be on CHSN. And I think the Blackhawks have, it's not a nationally televised game. It's this week on Saturday. They got a game that's on the NHL Network. So if you're out of market like myself and rely on ESPN Plus, the Blackhawks game against the Jets will not be on ESPN Plus. You still can watch it on CHSN for those of you in Chicago, but everything else is going to be on CHSN pending any last changes to the broadcasting schedule, which I highly doubt. Blackhawks' remaining schedule looks kind of easy. They got Pittsburgh on Tuesday. Thursday on the 10th, they head to Boston to take on a disastrous Boston Bruins team. Saturday, like I said, is against the Jets. And, okay. So maybe scratch what I said. This is not as easy as it looks like. Following that, they got Montreal, which has been on a heater as of late. And, of course, the Ottawa Senators is their last game. We're coming to the end. So, thank you for listening. That's all I got to say. Who knows when you'll hear me next, but let's go Hawks.